All right, guys, welcome to Crusher Combo, where we are crushing the conversation one episode at a time. And tonight I am super excited because I am joined by my friend and coworker, Alexa, who has never seen Star Trek before. And we are going to discuss episode 5 of Lower Decks, Starbase 80, ? Because no one wanted to be there. Now, Alexa, thank you for doing this. And are you ready?
I think so.
You're like, I hope so.
I'm a little bit nervous. I still don't feel like I really know why you asked me to be on, but I'm really excited.
Because I wanted us to have fun.
I'm honored.
And you were upset that I never interviewed you. And so I was like, well, then come on my show.
I feel like that was a joke that I made that then
bit you.
Yeah.
It totally
came back to bite me.
It came back to bite you. Now, guys, thank you, Dave and Chuck, for being in the chat. Let me know if we sound good because I've never done this dual on one mic before. So, yeah, just let me know. But let me put here. See, Chuck says, hi, everyone. Dave says, deja vu. And yes, happy Friday. So anyways, I am going to go ahead. Before we get started, I do have to mention, let me see here if I can get my thing up. There it is. All right, guys. So last Friday, after I finished my live, I got the sad news that Tony Todd passed away at the age of 69. Just short of his 70th birthday. He was well known in the sci-fi and horror world, especially from Candyman, Xena, and the Final Destination franchise. We, of course, knew him as Worf's brother Kern, older Jake Sisko from Deep Space Nine in The Visitor, and was also on Voyager as an Alpha Hirogen in the episode Prey. He loved interacting with the fans on social media and was just a super kind soul. I got to tweet with him a couple of times, and he was just the best. I was absolutely devastated when I heard the news, especially because I grew up with Xena, and I remember him very well from this series. And of course, the day after his passing, Pluto TV had played all of his episodes, so that was hard to watch, but yeah, it was very, very sad, and definitely we've had a lot of deaths in the franchise just in the last couple of months. We lost Patty Yasutake, we lost James Darren, Jerry Taylor, and now Tony, and we're not even done with the year yet. So yes, Chuck, rest in peace, Tony Todd. And yeah, it was not fun. So anyways, but let's start having fun. Can we? You ready? Are you ready for this?
I think so.
You're like, I hope so. All right, but let's do a really quick clip. So here we go. Starbase 80.
Looks like you're with me.
Mom, come on, please, look, give me haunted waste removal duty. Anything that takes me back to the Cerritos, please.
Ah, man, these systems are all old and weird. I was dreaming about working on something new.
Have you dreamed of being cursed?
All right, so Alexa, first impression. You never seen Star Trek. You know about it.
I know about it. I remember episodes being on TV. Like my dad.
You're talking about Kirk,
watching
Spock, and Bones.
Yeah, like the original. And I remember that I know this thing that I remember that I could never do it because my fingers don't close.
You're not the only one,
and it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything else really about
And I hear you have questions for me.
I have a question.
That's totally fine. But what was your first since this is like official intro to the Star Trek universe with this episode of Lower Decks. What was your first impression of it?
I mean, it seems definitely different, definitely like more comedic than the OG Star Trek. It was cute. I was surprised at how short the episodes were.
Right.
But it did make me want to like go back and watch previous episodes because I was like, I am a little lost. But it's
season 5, so you're definitely behind.
So but no, it was cute. It was like sillier than I think I had thought it was going to be
anticipated. And I mean, and there's a lot of very serious Star Trek shows. Strange New Worlds, which is supposed to be pre-OG, so pre-Kirk and Spock, even though Spock's on it, they have some dark episodes. If you like aliens, you would love these episodes. So, but this one is supposed to be funny. It's making fun of the stuff that even us are like.
And that's what I was thinking. I was like,
that's dumb, but okay.
Like kind of parody-ish.
Very parody. But
obviously like a different universe, different characters.
Yeah. But also it honors the franchise. So as much as it will make fun of certain things, it also honors it by remembering certain things that a lot of people won't. Like you could watch it and just enjoy it, while like fans like us, like I have Easter eggs like on my list, and I'm sure you guys caught on to some Easter eggs, but they're like, yeah, for you, you're all like, they have whales. Yeah. So for us, I'm like, there's whales. But what, you had a couple questions. What was?
So, okay. Well, one of like my first thought when the episode started, since I haven't seen other ones, I haven't seen like the other seasons, obviously, was I could tell that the main girl, which
Mariner.
Mariner, she was like the main girl, and her mom is the captain.
Yes, Captain Freeman.
I was wondering, who is her dad?
The dad is.
Where's the father?
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, Dave and Chuck, but he's an admiral. And so he's on a space station. So Freeman and they're still married. They're cool.
Okay.
But Mariner was basically a troublemaker. And
is that why she got banished?
From before.
Because I was wondering, I was like, her mom seems like her mom's a little rude.
She's a little much. Like I said, she's gotten better though. She's gotten Mariner definitely caused a lot of trouble.
I see. And she's saying that she was banished to Starbase 80, like a couple years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like her mom or her parents sent her there as like a reform.
Yes, because they thought she did something horrible when it wasn't true. But yeah, that's like the place to go when you are like banished, like when you're in trouble.
Okay.
But we always thought of Starbase 80 as this horrible thing, and come to find out it actually is not as bad as we thought it was.
Right.
So, and like she said in the episode, she said, coming back here, I thought I'm the same old person. She's trying to change. She's trying to do better. And she just kind of thought of this place as horrible because that's why she was there. She was banished there. So she just automatically assumed it was bad, not really realizing it wasn't.
How long was how much time did she spend there?
She was only there a little bit. She wasn't there for very long because she ended up just leaving Starfleet, left 80 and tried to do something on her own.
And is she supposed to be like a teenager or like
no? She's in her 30s. Yeah, late 20s, early 30s. But yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, because as an ensign, you can be really any age. You can join in at any age. It's not like college where you're like young and.
I see.
Well, it's like college. You can join at any age. So, but yeah.
That makes more sense.
They were ensigns. They were the lower deckers. They were on the bottom of the barrel, and they just got promoted as junior grade lieutenants. So now they have more responsibilities. You're seeing this growth over these last 5 years of these characters. Like Boimler was always on the book, on the nose, be good, this happens. And now he's being a little bit more playful and doing more things and Mariner now more responsible. But before she was like, throw me in the brig, because she just didn't want to follow authority.
Does she want to be like captain like her mom is?
No.
Someday? No.
Mm-mm. She doesn't want to have that kind of authority. But she definitely feels like before her whole story arc actually ended last year because her best friend died and she held on to that and she just didn't want to grow into any position. She wanted to stay at the bottom of the barrel because she was so
like
hurt. That was last season.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's kind of heavy.
Yeah. And it's one of those episodes. It was actually a Next Generation episode called Lower Decks. And this character, it's a horribly sad episode, like horribly sad, but he based this show off of that one episode. And so he made Mariner friends with the girl that passed away. So spoilers, she died, but it was horribly sad.
I kept calling this show the last like week, knowing I was going to be on this and that I was going to watch this episode. I kept calling it. I was like, it's Star Trek Below Deck, like the reality show.
Hey, that's close.
I was close. I was closer
Below
than
Decks,
I
Below
thought.
Deck. It's fine.
It's basically the same thing.
Chuck says Ensigns of Command. That was an episode. That's an episode, right, Chuck? And then yes, Lower Decks. Lower Decks. That's a chant that they did. But yeah, so there's this whole arc. So this season, like when I interviewed Mike McMahon, who created the show, I had asked him, you know, what's going to happen with Mariner now that her story kind of came full circle. And she's like, Mariner is freed. Like this is now her season to just kind of finally be who she was always meant to be. So that's what we're seeing. Like she was like enjoying science. Like she's actually allowing herself to enjoy being in Starfleet instead of just trying to rebel from all of it. And then Boimler is doing something different. Instead of just always being on the nose, you know, book nerd and following the rules, he's now exploring.
Which one is
Boimler? Is the purple hair.
Okay. purple mustache.
Purple mustache
guy.
Which that is also another thing. He never had one and now he's trying to grow it. So he's on his own.
Like becoming a man.
The whole beard thing is its own. it's its own story arc right now.
My other question was, I think I had asked you about this like in personal time, but so the colors. So they're like, I feel like this main, at least in this episode, the main group of characters I have written down, there's the mom, then the daughter who is like the lead, I'm guessing, Mariner, right?
Yeah.
Then I have buff guy.
Ransom.
And I have purple mustache guy.
That's Boimler, yeah.
And they're all red.
And
then I have green girl who wears blue.
Correct. Tendi.
And the glasses guy who wears yellow.
Yes, that's Rutherford. So engineering and security are yellow.
I don't know. I'm like writing it down. Like, okay.
You're taking notes. Blue is medical and silence. So as you can see, Beverly Crusher is wearing blue because she's the doctor. Mm-hmm. Red was command. Command officer.
Why are there so many commanders?
Well, I mean, you could be a commander, like she's a commander. Like when she was a chief medical officer, she was Commander Beverly Crusher, but she was also the doctor. And she
should have worn purple then.
Blue and red. So it was more of like kind of being, you know, in charge of something, like leading a department, right? So like the captain is red. He's in command. Like that was his, and even the admirals. There's no blue admirals, right?
So the commanders are more what, like people who like run the ship, like do the navigate it,
or even doing so like navigation would be red.
I see.
But just so you know, in the original series with like Spock and Kirk wore yellow because that was command. Red was security and engineering. They flipped it.
When
the Next Generation came out.
Why?
I don't know, and unfortunately Gene Roddenberry passed away, so we can't ask him. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, so I can't answer that question. I think it was just a change.
Okay.
They just wanted a different, but it looked better. I think, in my opinion, the red stood out more. I think that's why he wanted to make the change.
Do you remember we were talking about how, like in school, like you have different notebook colors, and red used to be math.
Red was math.
English was I don't remember, but is there any green? Or is it just red,
those
blue,
three
and
colors? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The primary colors.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's how, but blue always stayed the same, science and medical.
Huh.
Chuck says, great episode to watch is Those Old Scientists on Strange New Worlds. Very true. One of the best episodes you would ever see. And what it is that it's Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds crossover.
A crossover episode.
But the animation, and they come alive. So
like the animated characters become real people, or the real people become animated?
You gotta watch.
Oh boy.
It's one of the best episodes ever. Like, I was so impressed by how well they did it. Chuck says, no more red shirts dying on TOS. So there's a joke, because always the people wearing a red shirt always died on the original series.
That's probably why they have so many of them, because
so many. So I'm like, let's switch it. Now the yellow shirts die, but they actually don't die as much. So I guess that was the part of it. Now, I did mention, as I was explaining to Alexa about Mariner, she's loving her job and was kind of acting like Boimler, where he was saying, that's cool. Because she was like, oh my gosh, now I sound like Boimler. The one thing I did notice a bunch of Easter eggs that you wouldn't have caught on, but the captain had said, I'm supposed to go to Casperia Prime to go to some conference or something like that. Casperia Prime was the last place that Beverly and Picard spent together before she found out she was pregnant, before she left. Oh. Beverly
yes.
and Picard.
The pretty one.
Yes. So Beverly and Picard.
Okay.
So he's the father of Jack.
I like that you have puppets. It's good for someone like me.
This is for someone like, thanks to my husband who bought these for me. But yes, this is Picard and Beverly. And then they had Jack, who she hid. She got pregnant and left and never told Picard until 20 years later. Whole thing. But
you can't really blame him for being an absent father, I guess, if you didn't know.
There's reasons. Okay. We'll get into that later. But Casperia Prime was a special place for them. So when I heard her say that, I was like, my we call them, the ship name is called Picrusher. You know how you put two names together as a ship. My Picrusher heart was hurting. But it's fine.
And
it's fine.
It's like ship and like ship.
Ship. Oh no. When they say this is what's funny. People are like, who's your favorite ship? And people are like, are you talking about ships? Or
like it means
couples?
Something different.
Yeah, like, do you want to hear, I love the Enterprise D and Picrusher. So yes, it's kind of confusing in this franchise. Let me see here. Other references. Oh, so Enterprise was actually referenced a lot. So Star Trek Enterprise was the fourth show that aired in the 90s. So it was The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. So there was a lot of television shows in the 80s and 90s. You were not around. I think you were born in the middle of Voyager. That's what happened. So Enterprise started in 2002, but that was supposed to be like pre Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Oh, interesting.
So it was like right when they first started. So when they were in the decon chamber and there was rubbing all that stuff on them, that was a callback to that show.
Oh, that was another, because when I think of like a decontamination, I think of like you go in and it's like like steam or something. Right. And I was like, what even is this gel? And what is that?
That's what she said. There's a reason why it got banned, because he was putting it all over, and she's like, maybe you need to be careful.
I will say that's one part I didn't get. I'm like, they're putting
just a callback
gel to, okay, I see.
Yeah, so, it's a callback. Yeah.
So one of those.
And then even the outfits. So like the person we saw on Starbase 80, Cassia Knox, she's wearing that blue jumper. Mm-hmm. That was a Enterprise outfit. That was what they used to originally wear before the whole blue and yellow and red and all that stuff. So that's where, so there was a lot of callbacks to the Enterprise. And then she ended up being an Elorian, which that was Whoopi Goldberg's character. Whoopi Goldberg was on The Next Generation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's why I didn't want to tell
Goldberg
you.
Was yeah.
She loved Star Trek so much because of Nichelle Nichols, who was the comms person in the original series. And she felt that was a way of showing that, Black people were in the future, and not only in the future, she was on the bridge doing a very important job. So Star Trek was so important to her as a child that she called LeVar Burton, who played Jordy with the visor, okay, and said, I want to be on the show. When they got her on the show.
How long was she on the show?
She was on it for the first 6 years, season 2 to season 6.
When was it? What year was this?
This was, so TNG started in 1987 and then ended in 1994.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And she was like she wasn't a regular, but she was on there and she was the bartender. So she always had good advice, but she was like 300, 400 years old, which is why Mariner thought.
They have a bartender on the ship?
There's a bar. Called 10-4.
Well, there should be. If I was in space, I was living in space on a ship
and almost dying every day. You just need to
and if I had to land on a planet to go to a bar, I'd be like, I'm not taking that job. So that's so smart.
Well, here's the sad part. So they ended up doing synthahol, so all the alcohol was not real because they wanted them to like be able to not like get drunk and fly ship.
Well, that's fair. But like if you work on a ship and you live there, couldn't you like drink on your off day? Don't you get like a weekend?
Well, Picard's family did come from a vineyard, so he did have the real stuff hidden away.
Interesting.
So yes, that's a whole other story though. Let's see here. Chuck says, I bought the Hallmark Beverly Crusher ornament yesterday. Actually, can you hand me that box right there? He bought this yesterday.
It's cute.
Yes. And remember, the contest ended because I hit 200 subscribers and Dr. RDA won this and I get to send that to her. So I'm super, super excited. But yeah, actually my mom texted me. She's like, can I have it? And I was like, it's for the giveaway. I can't. So I had to go buy her one.
Should have entered.
Are you a subscriber? And let's see if you win. Maddie tried to do that. My daughter subscribed. She's like, so when do I get my ornament? I was like, that's not how it works.
Actually, I did listen to that part of the last podcast. When
you were on it, but you didn't win. Because you did subscribe.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I was like, wait, I'm a subscriber now.
You are. And you joined. You were a new subscriber. There's a little wheel that says Alexa on there, but you didn't win. I'm sorry.
I usually don't. I'm pretty bad.
It would. I was not to say this, but it would have saved me on postage. But I'm very happy for Dr. RDA. So we're fine. Yes, Chuck, Chateau Picard. That is where he lived. He was a British man who lived in France.
Oh.
Well, actually, Picard's supposed to be French, but played by a British actor.
Okay.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. That's a whole other story, guys. Maybe we'll do a bonus episode. So anyway, so back to Starbase 80. Of course, Mariner is like not happy to be here. And like she was even saying, she was like, this place is cursed. Things are going on. And of course, as everyone just started becoming zombies, I think I noticed right off the bat that it was only the Cerritos crew instead of like people from Starbase 80.
So I did not know it was only the Cerritos crew
because I don't think you knew they were.
I was thinking that the Cerritos crew was the people that we met in the chamber putting the gel on. And then I realized, I was like, how big is this? I just thought that it was just them on the ship.
Actually,
and so I did not.
There's hundreds of people on the Cerritos ship.
So then I was like, oh, there must be a lot of people on the ship. And they all got off. Apparently. They all went to Starbase 80.
They all went to, well, I mean, some of them did, because remember how he was saying, how could he be affected when he's on the Cerritos, you know?
Right.
So it was because it was happening on the Cerritos.
It started on this, right, right. Yes.
Yeah. But actually the Enterprise D, which was the next generation, actually that ship right there, that was 1,014 people. She had to take care of a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
She was the only doctor?
She was the chief medical officer, but she had other doctors. Like she needed a day off. She was also a vet.
Oh.
Because Data had a cat named Spot, and she had kittens, and she delivered the kittens.
So here's there was like a cat humanoid type of character.
Dr. Tahana, yeah. That's their chief medical officer.
That was like when they started turning to zombies and stuff.
You're then like, I was like, cat.
Oh, there's a lot of people on the ship, and also that is on.
But she's like not just a cat. She's the medical officer. But it's also there was like a cat creature in the original series, so it's kind of an homage to her, and also her because it's an orange cat, red hair, the whole thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm talking about, that showrunner Mike he's a fan. He knows his Star Trek. I'm even learning all of this. So now the Akamarians were another Easter egg. You had no idea, which was from TNG's Vengeance Factor. If you guys remember, this was the episode, I believe in season 3, where Riker fell in love with that servant, and they had to make peace between the rebels and whoever that older lady was, but finding out that the one that he was falling in love with was actually 500 years old and was there to kill people, and he ended up having to kill her.
Oh, no.
I'm going to tell you right now, Star Trek is not a happy-go-lucky show. It's very depressing.
It makes sense. It's like space seems cool, but
it's dangerous.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go.
I don't think I would want to. No.
I don't think I could hack it out there, to be honest.
I'm good on Earth.
It's like camping, but worse.
Way worse. Especially, oh man, you should watch Voyager. Because they were there's 4 quadrants, okay, that they find out. So there's
like quadrants of space.
Yeah. So there's Alpha, which is where Earth is, and there's Beta, Delta, and oh gosh, what's the other Greek word? Beta, Delta, Alpha,
Beta,
maybe
Zeta.
No,
I'm just thinking of.
I know. I'm trying to think. I know, me too. But they got
Phi.
No, I wish that would have been easy. Pi would have been cool. 3.14, blah blah blah. But they got pushed to Alpha to the Delta quadrant, which was like hundreds of years to get back, and so they had to try and find their way home. That's the whole show.
But can't, like, when you're in space, you can move at like light speed.
Even if they went at light speed, it was still going to take like 100 years.
So
that's how far.
So like you don't go.
Well, but they accidentally it was an accident. It wasn't.
But
on purpose.
If you win, everyone would be dead by the time you got there.
Exactly. They would not have made it. So they had to try and find another way home to get back, like a wormhole or something. That's the whole. But they ran into some really serious stuff.
I think space is probably not for me.
Space is not for us, guys. I'm so sorry. we're gonna stay here on Earth. We're fine.
I'd be of no use up there to anyone.
No. I mean, I already get seasick, so I don't even know what's going to happen in space. Decontaminating, the whole gravity thing. Gravity goes out, you're flying all over.
The whole gravity thing, there's none.
Well, they even mentioned that in Starbase 80. The gravity plate was upside down. Remember they fell?
Oh, that would have, during that scene, that would have absolutely made me hurl. The second I walked in there.
That would have just happened to us because that's just our luck.
That's one of the things I was like, they were so chill about that. They were just all of a sudden
like upside
on
down
the ceiling, and they were like,
this is just happens every day.
But I guess if you are in space long enough, you get used to things like that, I suppose.
Which I think those are things you shouldn't get used to.
Well, not us.
No, not us for sure. I did laugh at the part of Ramson and Freeman taking the stairs, because the whole joke is like there's no more stairs anywhere, like they teleport. And so he was all like, hey, old fashioned.
I figured there was a joke there. He was my favorite. I decided.
Ransom? The buff guy?
Yeah, the buff guy.
Yeah.
And I normally wouldn't like the buff guy character, but
right.
I liked him. I thought he was funny. I liked him.
That's actor Jerry O'Connell.
I don't know.
Jerry O'Connell? I'll show you some pictures. Okay. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Trust me. The moment I show her a picture, she's like, oh, that guy. I mean, I could say Stand By Me with Will Wheaton, but long before her time.
I'm bad with putting names into faces.
No, it's
You're probably
fine.
right. If I saw a picture, I'd put like,
honestly, if I show you a couple of people's pictures of who are doing the voices, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Like I told you, the one that does Boimler's voice is the son of Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid.
I think you did tell me that.
Yeah. So he's hilarious. Takes after his parents, obviously. So I'm going to check real fast on Instagram to see if anyone is here. So Sci-Fi Remnant says, Alexa, welcome to the best club online. Woo! Thank you. Chuck says Stairway to the Stars. Yeah, what was it, like 30 floors they went up? But Ransom was loving it, and Freeman was mean, like, Okay, just so you know, guys. So you guys all know that we had a renovation at our work. I was tweeting about it a lot. Like, oh my gosh, I can't survive this. We got put in the basement. There's no elevator. We have to take the stairs constantly, and my knees.
That's like one flight. That's
enough.
No, it's brutal. Though.
It's brutal. Those, especially because we have to dress nice. Our heels, like it's not.
No, 30 flights is
That's insanity.
When I was in college, I would do 12 flights because I was always late. And then there would be a line for the elevators, and
You're like, nope.
I knew I would be even later, so I would take the stairs, and that was like I was sweating. So 30 flights.
But he felt he's like what was he saying in his glutes? Like he was.
I liked
feel
it.
Feel the burn. Yeah.
Maybe it's different though when you're but they have gravity in it. I was gonna say maybe it's different in space. You're like a little bit bouncier or something.
I don't think so. Freeman wasn't feeling it. She was like, I'm not feeling any lighter. She was huffing and puffing. And the thing about Freeman, where you called her a B word earlier.
I just as someone who doesn't know
the character,
she
has like, that vibe.
Yeah,
she has that vibe.
Bit.
Yeah, she has gotten better. Okay, she has. She was very uptight, I think, and especially in the beginning, especially her having to deal with Mariner, who was always just like a problem child.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah. She said she apologized, but in her daughter's terms, she's like, I apologize. Like that. I laughed at that part because I'm like, yeah, that made it all better. I think poor Mariner had to go to therapy after it was a whole thing. Actually, that was another funny part where Tendi was with the that one vendor with the old outfits, and it had like burnt holes and stuff. And she's like, how did you make these? Like, oh, from the long dead Starfleet. I was like, vintage. I'm just all like, it's all trendy. Yeah. Let me see here. Did you have any other questions, or was that it?
I didn't really have any other questions
or anything that came to your mind. Like who stood out to you in this episode?
I liked Buff Guy,
Ransom.
He was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the only character's name that I remembered after I was done watching it was, now I'm gonna forget it. It was Chad, the hot dog guy,
the corn dog
guy.
Yeah.
At first I was like, well, this is ridiculous. You can't sell corn dogs in space. Well, but then I had to remind myself it's a silly show.
Yeah.
Well,
even Boimler said that. He was all like, corn dogs,
They made it look like that level of Starbase 80 looked like a mall, almost like I imagined it being like, there's a corn dog stand and you can go over here and buy your space gloves.
I think that was on purpose. I think it was supposed to be a callback for Deep Space Nine. Because they had a promenade and stuff like that. And it's supposed to look
felt like, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. Like there was a bar, like Quark's bar, and then there was Hollow Suites and stuff like that.
Well, so and it was like, I was like, this place looks kind of fun. I don't know why Mariner's
like freaking out.
Such a fuss.
I mean,
all these people are so chill.
She just needs to take a chill pill. Calm down. No, but that's what was funny because they have replicators. No one cooks anymore. Like you just say, I want chicken pesto pasta and it'll appear. So that's why they were surprised that they actually cooked on the space station.
I liked the corn dog guy though. He was my favorite.
He saved the day.
I didn't expect for him to come back. Yeah. And so when he came back at the end of the episode, I was like, I remember him.
She said, I'm bringing my two weirdos with me. And it was the crazy doctor and who was half alien.
I liked him. He had a great attitude whole way through.
He's like, I got this with his corn dogs. He was I was afraid for his life. Actually, they all were. They thought he was going to get killed. And I don't know what they were doing. Were they licking him? I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, that was another question I had was why. So I felt like the licking could have been a little bit better explained. Like the fact that it was, I think I was a little confused by the end of it because it was all of a sudden
what's an anaphasic life form,
and then the green goo was in a cage and it was talking, and I caught the part where it said, well, it's like trying to reach out
to life forms, corporeal life forms,
and that's why they were licking.
Okay, so guess what, guys? I get to talk about Sub Rosa. So an anaphasic life form has to connect with okay, let me see if I could do this. I gotta tap into my Beverly Crusher here for a second. So at the end of Sub Rosa, this anaphasic life form abused her. So it's a totally different story. But she said, anaphasic energy is completely unstable. They need an organic host in order to maintain molecular cohesion. Otherwise, they will die.
That was so impressive.
It's literally like the only line in the entire series that I know. But I have to say it because they thought he was a ghost. It's okay. It's campy. It's weird, but I see it a different way. So everyone thinks that Beverly Crusher fell in love with a ghost. Okay. But she didn't. The anaphasic life form pretended to be a ghost in order to feed off her energy for him to survive. So he was actually killing her. And then she became addicted to his energy. So what was happening is that this particular anaphasic life form was trying to just actually not kill anybody. He was just trying to be friends with them, really. Like, let's be friends. But he ended up taking over and they became zombies. Like they just...
And that's what, because he says at the end, like he took on too many, right?
Yeah, he stretched himself too thin. So that's why they all became, what did Mariner say? Moronic?
Yeah.
Yeah, They were not like all there. That's why they kind of had that zombie test. But that's why they kept licking because the mind was in the ship. Because it's electricity, it's energy.
Like how did it get in there and get into the whales?
So the very beginning, when they came back and they were taking off their wetsuits and stuff like that, they had just came off of a planet. And they were in water, which is why the whales were with them. And he kind of hitched a ride, but he went into the ship and
like an algae or something.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Clem was a nice anaphasic energy. We don't like Ronan. Ronan was a bad energy. Okay. Very, very bad. But I still like the episode. But anyways, I thought that was funny because I was like, oh my gosh, Sub Rosa. Because he was an anaphasic energy. Yeah. And that's why Mariner made the joke saying, what did she say, guys? She said, you anaphasic ghost, because that's a callback to Sub Rosa because they thought he was a ghost.
I see.
Yeah. So there's literally I had to watch this episode like 7 times just to catch everything that was said.
Yeah, I'm sure like if you know like all of like the lore of all the other Star Trek things and the whole universe.
Chuck
and all
says
the
zombie
shows.
spin-off series Starbase 80.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been like a video game.
Right. Yeah.
A zombie Starbase 80 like.
I think they could totally do a comedy show of just a Starbase 80. I mean, I liked Cassia. She was cool. She's an Illyrian, but only in her 30s. She's not 500 years old. There was also, and I think, so that doctor that looked part alien, part human. Okay. That was also another callback to Identity Crisis. So it was called the Tarkanian parasites, which attach themselves to the thyroid, change your DNA into that blue species, and you completely lose yourself. And it almost took over.
I did think it was funny. There was a line where he was like, they told me it wasn't noticeable.
It's like, that's kind of noticeable.
That was a good one. I liked that. That was funny.
Those little moments is what makes the show funny.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, there's a part where, do you remember when they went on the Cerritos because they were going to try and stop the whales? Okay. And there was a guy that was like chewing on the wires. The doors kept opening and shutting.
I remember the guy chewing on the wires, and I remember the guy who kept pressing the button.
Yeah, auto destruct back and forth. Yeah. That's their chief engineer, by the way. But the guy where all of a sudden Mariner goes, Livik. That's a callback to another episode. So it's these little. I started laughing my head off because Rutherford, the one with the eye, the robot eye, he had this. How would you guys call it? Like a. Trying to be better than Livik, okay? But Livik was always a step ahead. And so when she saw, every time he would see her, he'd go, Livik, like that would be their and so she did it. And so I started laughing because I knew exactly who they were talking about. Ghost starring Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah. That's funny because yes, they mentioned a ghost and then an Illyrian, and she was on There'll Be Whales Here. I know let me explain to you about the whales.
Okay. Thank you.
So they were the cetacean ops they use the whales and water to like circulate to help with navigation.
No, one more time.
I don't know the technical babble to this, but they use mammals, whales, to help with navigation. They're navigational species.
Like with like their sounds and stuff?
With their sounds, and even just like they did this in Prodigy, which is another animated series, not as funny as this one, but they used actual like humpback whales to help with navigation.
Okay.
Instead of just using like computers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How do they know how to navigate space?
Well, that's
that's just like you suspend your disbelief kind of. Okay. That's fair.
I mean, there's probably an actual technical term. I just don't know it. But those little whales that got taken over, they have little Starfleet outfits.
I like them. They were very cute.
Yeah. They're very important to the job. They've been in the show before. So that's why it was like, oh no, not the whales.
I thought they were manatees.
I don't think they're manatees. Oh,
what do we think?
I thought they were belugas.
I feel like belugas and manatees kind of look the same. Am I crazy?
Honestly, I agree with you. So, we work together. So we have a whole vibe.
What are manatees whales? What are manatees?
I thought manatees are like seals, like the sea lions.
No.
Guys, help us out.
Are way bigger than seals.
Well, no, but like the same. We're gonna have to Google this later.
They're not dolphins.
No, they're
Maybe
not.
Manatees are just manatees.
I thought they were part of the.
This is totally. Now we're going out sidetracked.
Trust me, that's what happens on especially on this show. We get sidetracked a lot. But I do like that Mariner did confess that she admitted that being there. She wasn't looking at the whole picture. She was just kind of reminding herself of when she was last there. She was just like devastated. And so she didn't even pay attention that Starbase 80 was even that bad. Mm-hmm. And so for her to actually like realize, oh shoot, I probably should have paid more attention and not, she kind of had to tap into herself and realize that she made mistakes, and that's why she tried to sacrifice herself in order to save them.
I thought that lady was going to end up being like bad or evil.
Oh yeah.
And I liked that she wasn't. Yeah. And she was just quirky.
Yeah.
Cool. And then that Mariner like realized that that's fine. Like that's she's fine. Not, it's not this horrible place. Mm-hmm. The people are just a little
different,
a little kooky,
a little different.
They're a little different.
What is it? IDIC stands for infinite, infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
Oh,
that's what Star Trek means. IDIC.
I like that. That's nice.
It's pretty. It's a hope for a better future. That's what it is. Dave says, I like that about Mariner too. Yeah. I mean, this whole season, like Mike said, she's free. So she's now being the person that she's meant to be. She's no longer that person she used to be before, where she just didn't want to grow. She was like stuck in this bubble because she was so hurt losing her friend. And her parents are one of Starfleet's highest, captain and an admiral. Mm-hmm. So she rebelled. She rebelled against the authority. And now we're seeing that she actually likes it. Like she does like Starfleet. I don't think she wants to be captain, but she definitely wants to make a difference.
You can tell she's very like strong-willed. Like, oh yeah. Definitely like outspoken. And like when the episode first started, I was kind of like, she's like just a tad bit. Not annoying. That's a rude word, but she's got a lot. Like she doesn't hide her like how she feels about things, right? And then this episode, I feel like was very much. You could really see like how she realizes that she was wrong, and like her being so like at the beginning.
Yeah,
she kind of came about at the end of the episode.
Well, I think and she admitted that she was wrong.
Yeah,
and she had to accept that and just realize like you said earlier, how Cassia is they're just quirky. And even Cassia had said that. She's like, we're just different. That doesn't make us bad.
Right.
you know. And I think with Freeman, throw this in real quick, she had heard this whole other dimension type, other side of her had gotten stuck on Starbase 80. And so she was afraid that she was on a path where she was going to be like demoted and be, that's why she was so involved trying to stop those bats. Because she's kind of trying to, I don't want my future to end up on the wrong path.
Interesting.
Because those other characters that they saw, they just made slight differences in their, you know, decisions, and they ended up on a totally different direction, which is why Boimler's trying to be more freeing and, you know, doing crazy, stupid stuff, growing a beard, because that's his other half was just like so chill and confident and just like everything's going to work out, while he was always anxiety ridden and afraid that everything was just, you know, the other shoe was going to drop any second. So all these characters are going through their own journey. The only ones we just haven't really seen much is the Shax, who's the chief of security, and the doctor, the cat doctor, Tiana. We haven't seen much of those two, which is because this is the final season. The show got canceled.
Oh,
yeah. And so they had
how many episodes are in this season?
10.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're already halfway through, and we were all bummed because everyone loves Lower Decks, but you know, Paramount. But yeah, so that's why Freeman was on this, why she seemed so be wise, because she's just overly focused on trying not to be that other Freeman that she sort of saw. She didn't even get to see her. That's why she was kind of confused. But I think, let me see here. Anaphasic energy we went over. Crazy energy, ghost, mariner. Yep, mentioned that.
Can we talk about the guy who was on Starbase 80, and he was like the captain and what was his name? It took me like until like the third time when they went to the arcade, when I was like, oh, that is the same guy.
Chief Engineer Gene Jacobowski. That's what you're talking about.
I liked him.
He was the chief engineer, and he was playing Ransom and Freeman because he just wanted his place fixed, but no one like. The Cerritos is the California class, so they're just like the bottom of the barrel ships. This was like the bottom of the barrel Starbase.
I see.
And so Starfleet kind of just like
they're like taking advantage of their like new technology and stuff like that.
Yeah, and 80 was still using the old stuff, like holding on, and you know, they never got upgrades. They were still using wall comms. Like that was just Starfleet just didn't treat these people right, but they didn't let it tear them down.
I liked that bit though, that he kept showing up in each place that he sent them. That was funny. That felt like old school, like farce kind of humor.
Yes,
like
exactly.
It was good. It was a good bit.
And there's Joe from Captain's Quadrant. You guys, I think, are going live here in a little bit. So thank you for stopping by. Joe, this is Alexa's first time ever watching Star Trek. So this has been a very fun. She's had lots of questions, but hopefully
I'm doing my best.
I mean, yeah, I hope I'm doing my best because I'm trying to remember half of this stuff. He says, love the laughs. Good to see you guys. You should see us at work. We're always and actually I mentioned, so I don't know if you guys remember, so I'm no longer on Twitter because that's just disappeared. And during Beverly Crusher Day, which was October 13th, I decided to go over Nana Visitor's book, which is talking about the women of Trek, open a channel. And this was around the time that we had our grand reopening. Okay. So that picture of us that we took, so we were all dressed in our nines, trying to do our best after a very hellish renovation. But we survived. And I had mentioned how the path that all of these women actors had gone through, all the shit that they had gone through, especially back in the 90s, kind of paved the way for people like me, Alexa, and our boss, because we are 3 women who are in charge of a hotel, and we are in charge of our employees. And it's stuff that they went through just to, and even like our moms and all that stuff, paved the way for us to be in these positions. And so she's one of them. This was one of them in the photo. So so we are just, you know, women who are in command, like we see of Captain Freeman or even Mariner and even Beverly Crusher. She was a single mom and she was the chief medical officer. And so one thing that I learned and that I loved about Star Trek is just how important the women characters were. You definitely need to read that book, by the way. I'll probably let you borrow it. It's fantastic.
I will.
So, but yeah, so this is just one of those things where we have fun, but we take our job seriously. But
heck yeah.
Heck yeah. What did I say? What's your keychain that you gave me? Like,
oh, you're the reason I don't punch people at work.
See, I multitask daily.
We get through it all together.
I
think that is cool about like this show, from everything that you've told me about it and how much you love the character of Beverly and the idea of like strong women and shows like this and in space. Like I said, like I don't know that I could hack it in space, but I would do my best.
Yeah, we would try.
And I think that's really, really cool. I think seeing this part of like your life and everything and your passion, like it makes a lot of sense as to why you love it so much, and also why, like how you are who you are.
Just even or even really at work.
Cool. Yeah, at work and as a friend
or how I handle my employees.
It makes sense, but it's like, you are very strong.
I always typically gravitated towards strong female characters. Like my show as a kid was X-Men and Xena. Like that was my biggest thing. And so the thing that I loved about Beverly Crusher was because she was a single mom, and that was me with Maddie. So, and I'm a department head and things like that. So it's always nice to have those inspirational characters, no matter what show it is. And it just reflects on who we are, and we can take that into our lives and just be like, like my friend said, do it for Beverly. That was her way. And she's a chaplain in the Army. So those are any character, and for anybody, and I've met so many people in the Star Trek community where all these characters mean something to them because they were either, like one friend said that Beverly was her absentee like mom, right? Was like the mom she never had, or, just a figure of strength and stuff so that would help them through whatever they were going through. And that's just kind of, and it still continues to this day.
What I think is so cool is like, she's so beautiful, but like you can be gorgeous and strong and smart and all of those things at once, and you don't have to sacrifice one for the other, and you can be taken seriously if you are all of those things. If you're like, it doesn't matter.
Unfortunately in the 80s and 90s they didn't pass the Bechdel test very often, but that was the 80s. We're getting better. It's fine. But yes, there's a lot of really great moments, and even stuff that even the actress herself had to go through just to even direct an episode. And it's one of the best episodes out there. So always keep on trekking. But this was fun.
This was really fun.
Really fun.
I was a little nervous, but it was like way more fun than
I
knew it was going to be fun, but this was like super fun. I was just thinking, I was like, I don't know that your people are going to
you're like
care about me being here.
No.
I wore my Planet earrings.
See,
I tried to get into the spirit.
Got in the spirit.
But it was really fun. And I did like the show. I told you before, like adult cartoons kind of are usually not my thing. But that's also not really fair because there's very few that I've even really given a chance. And I liked this one.
Yeah.
I did. I liked it.
Lower Decks is a really good entry into Trek. So is Prodigy. Something about the animated shows is just very, the showrunners were fans themselves of Trek. So then they really put in everything that the fans love about the show into these stories.
When hearing you talk about all the Easter eggs, it makes me want to
learn more
so that then I can go back and catch those things, because I'm sure it makes it just even that much more enjoyable.
Oh yeah, like when you start picking out certain things, you're just like, I can't believe it. But it's not shoehorned in. Like it makes sense to the story, which is what's always so cool. fun about it. Chuck says this was a great live stream review. Sissy.
Thanks, Chuck.
She was very nervous. I was like, this is going to be fine. But I do want to go ahead into our next segment.
My tricorder.
All right, guys. Tricorder rating. We got 17 votes, which is great because sometimes I forget to put out the polls. And luckily I didn't do it this time. 77% gave it 5 cetacean ops. 23% gave it 4 corn dogs. But no one gave it 3 Denobian lice or 1 to 2 bats. What would you rate this? 5 being the best.
And what are my options?
Just pick 1 through 5. 5 being the best.
I give it a 4.3.
Oh.
Okay. I really like the corn dog guy. So I get 5 corn dogs. And...
Four corn dogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
4 corn dogs.
It's 5 cetacean ops. Say 5 cetacean ops right there. And then 4 corn dogs.
I see.
Yeah.
Kind of. I will rate it with the corn dogs because that was one of my favorite parts. Yeah, it was really good. I liked it.
I did enjoy Chad. Chad was a nice added addition. And
I hope he makes another appearance in a later episode.
Well, sadly the show got canceled, so I don't know.
Maybe he'll come back in the finale of this season.
Yeah.
Maybe
We're hoping it gets picked up, or maybe somehow Starbase 80 becomes like, I don't know, a comedy movie or something. Chuck says 4 corn dogs with mustard.
Oh, I'm a ketchup person.
Okay. That's
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry, Chuck. Don't be mad at me.
I mean, that's your 0.3 because you said 4.3. So it's with.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So ketchup instead of mustard. That's fine. Hold on. Let me get to the next one. Oh, yeah. This one. Don't get scared. All right. Oh, I didn't change this. There we go. Just a little discombobulated. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Ta-da. All right. Redhead Alert Trek Talks is coming January 18th. And it, of course, is going to have John Billingsley and Bonnie Gordon hosting. They are going to have interviews with Star Trek actors. They're going to have really good segments. You can find out all their information on trektalks.net. You can follow them on the socials at Trek_Talks. And, of course, they are now on YouTube at Trek Talks Telethon. As you see, my Be Kind Like Crusher designed. All the proceeds go to Trek Talks next year. And I got to say, I just got my design today, and it looks pretty nifty, guys. So I hope you guys go in and snag. It could be a shirt, it could be a hat, it could be a sticker. It really doesn't matter. But just go to my TeePublic store and grab that design. And you could also find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods. I am on Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee to help support. You could also find me on Blue Sky, TikTok, Threads, and Instagram. And don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube so you can get all your favorite Crusher Combo content. And, of course, my Crusher Combo merch is on TeePublic. So, yeah. So, thank you, Alexa, for joining me today. This was so much fun.
Thanks for having me. It was great. I really liked it.
This was lots of fun. We actually got a lot out there. And next week, same time, same place, I will be going into the second half of the final season. I can't believe we're already at episode 6. This is very sad. And it's called Of Gods and Angels. So I can't wait what that is going to be in store for us. So thank you to Chuck. Good night, everyone. And Dave for being in the chat with us. And also Sci-Fi Remnant over at Instagram. This was loads of fun. See if it could see. This is how you do it. You can almost live long and prosper, guys. Thanks so much. Bye.